Rick's story in The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live Episode 4 gave a new definition to the phrase, The Walking Dead. Given that The Walking Dead is a franchise set in a world overrun by zombies, it's easy to assume that there isn't deep meaning to the title. But over time, it's become clear that it doesn't just describe the zombies. The Ones Who Live has reinforced that notion, while also changing the title's meaning at the same time. Due to all the time that's gone by in the Walking Dead timeline since Rick's exit from the main show, there were a lot of expectations when it came to Rick's highly anticipated return to the franchise. Not only did it have several questions to answer about his whereabouts and activities over the past few years, but it also had to address the personal toll Rick Grimes' absence from Alexandria has taken on his character. The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live has dealt with this issue extensively, and by exploring the ways in which Rick has coped with it, the spin-off offered a new interpretation of a core part of the franchise's identity. Rick Grimes is The Walking Dead in The Ones Who Live. Andrew Lincoln as Rick getting emotional while talking to Michonne in The Walking Dead The Ones Who Live Episode 4. An exchange in The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live Episode 4 reveals that in the show, it's Rick Grimes himself who represents The Walking Dead. When talking candidly to Michonne about his struggles to go on during his time with the CRM, Rick said that dreaming about people like Carl, and then Michonne, is how he survived. But as time passed, it reached a point where he could no longer dream of them, which made getting by more difficult. After saying that he couldn't live without Michonne, Rick said that he figured out how to keep going. He claimed that now, he understands how to be dead and live. Interestingly, being alive and dead at the same time is how zombies are commonly characterized. It's exactly why zombies are referred to as The Walking Dead. But in Rick's mind, this description now fits him as well. To Rick, being forced to live within the walls of the CRM without the people he cares about has turned him into a shell of his former self. The emptiness he feels inside and the measures he's taken to shut himself off from everything explains why he thinks of his new way of life as trying to be dead and live. What The Walking Dead has meant previously in the franchise. For years, the meaning of The Walking Dead hasn't exactly been straightforward. Originally, it made sense to think that the term simply described the zombies, considering their nature as reanimated human corpses. And while it certainly does encompass the zombies, it also applies to the characters in the shows. In The Walking Dead Season 5's Them, Rick famously said, "We are the Walking Dead." Rick's claim was rooted in his grandfather's experiences during World War II. He said that his grandfather would pretend he was dead, and that this was the key to him living through the war. That story was what Rick used to counter Michonne's argument when she disagreed with their current path and suggested that this wasn't what the world should be. But Rick felt otherwise, believing that they had to adjust to it. Rick felt that this was what the zombie apocalypse had done to them, as they too had to become The Walking Dead in order to ensure their survival in the current landscape. As he explained, "We do what we need to do, and then we get to live." In other words, they had to harden themselves so that they could deal with the decisions they'd have to make to survive. Rick's tragedy proves Daryl's TWD finale speech was a lie. Norman Reedus as Daryl Dixon with black eye in The Walking Dead finale. Years after Rick's "We Are the Walking Dead" speech, the franchise flipped the line with a monologue from Daryl in The Walking Dead series finale. Daryl, who had actually disagreed with Rick when he dropped the original line in Season 5, said in the show's final episode, "We ain't the Walking Dead." Daryl's comment expressed the idea that The Walking Dead's characters had progressed beyond the state Rick had discussed all those years ago. According to Daryl, they're not the Walking Dead because they're better than that now, as they've grown to a point where they don't have to do whatever it takes to survive.